Welcome to the J&J Sports Express for Week 13 of the NFL season 2023. I'm your host, Jeff Cadillac, and as always, on Wednesday evenings, my co-host is JB Ellis. JB, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. Some good games to talk about, I see.
Definitely some good games. Some good games last week. Philadelphia pulling it out. Um, I'll tell you something. They're a tough team. They're a tough act to follow, and we're going to be talking about them because two of the games we spoke about last week have two teams facing each other this week. So let's get right to the program. First, on Thursday Night Football, you have Seattle at the Cowboys. Cowboys at home. They're favored by 9. Who you like and why, JB?
So it's more of who I don't like because the Seahawks have looked awful the last couple of weeks. I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. They seem to be beating who they need to beat, doing what they need to do, and the Seahawks just don't look very good lately. So I'm not really sure how they expect to go to Dallas and compete in this game.
Well, Seahawks are without Kenneth Walker, and Geno Smith is the type of quarterback that if he doesn't have at least a decent running back behind him, he panics and he doesn't do well. And Kenneth Walker wasn't there for the game against San Francisco. Not that that would have mattered, but he's not there this week against Dallas. And Dallas has a very good run defense, which is going to be tough. And it's going to put Geno Smith basically in a hole, and he's going to be running for cover a lot of this night. I think Cowboys at home, they've been lights out. They're 5-0 straight up and 5-0 against the spread. They haven't had really any competition at home. They're coming off a game against Washington on Thanksgiving, 45-10. I mean, that game was 14-10 at one point, and then Dallas just turned on the charm and just, kept on going. And, I happen to have liked Washington in that game plus 12 because I felt they were going to keep it close. But it was a blowout. Yeah, 14-10, it was close. And then after that, it was the end. They just scored, 31 points after that.
But I
But
don't know if Geno is right either. I mean, he's battling some injuries. I don't know. I just nothing in me sees the Seahawks competing in this game.
Well, I don't like the fact that Kenneth Walker's not there. And a lot of times, Geno Smith, he relies on, I can't think of the wide receiver, DK Metcalf. Right. He relies on him too much. And guys know that he's relying on him too much. And that's the problem. You got to spread that ball around. You got to make the defense, any defense, you got to have them guessing what's going to come up next. If you're predictable and in film you're predictable, Dallas is just going to wait. I see a couple of turnovers definitely by Geno in this game. I see the Cowboys taking full advantage. Again, they're 5-0 at home. They haven't played really that many teams at home that to per se that, competition-wise. Seattle is basically the best of the 6 games that they've played at home, believe it or not. But the Seahawks started out nice during the season, and now they're starting to fade. I really see them going down. The defense, too many weapons for Dak. He feels comfortable at home. I think Cowboys win by at least 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I completely agree. I'm curious about the next game. Got 2 hot teams, but the Texans did lose this last week to the Jaguars. What do you see in this one?
Okay. The Texans, they lost by inches in a 58-yard field goal that hit the crossbar with no seconds, at the end of the game. So it basically came down to that. It was that close. If that ball had been 3 inches further, it would have been a tie game going into overtime. So they lost very closely. And CJ Stroud, I mean, the guy's playing like a veteran. Yes, Houston does have an easy schedule this year because they were so bad last year. Next year, when he has a tougher schedule, that's going to be the real test, because the sophomore jinx comes into play. The Broncos, though, they've been playing lights out lately. All of a sudden, there's a big turnaround in Denver, and they're really looking a lot better. Russell Wilson is starting to look like the Russell Wilson that we all know and love when he was with Seattle during his prime years. He's really playing well. And the Denver Broncos defense is also playing better as well. I mean, look, they smothered Cleveland on both sides of the ball. Yes, they started out with Dorian Thompson as their quarterback. They knocked him out of the game. PJ Walker came in and everything, and they still smothered. Cleveland started playing some razzle dazzle and made some mistakes, but Denver was taking advantage of every mistake that Cleveland had last week. The Texans, they fell behind with Jacksonville. They actually were ahead 14-13. I had a feeling that game last week was going to go down to the wire, and I was right, but I was on the losing side of it. I felt Houston would pull it out, but they didn't. I like Denver, believe it or not, in this game. I think they, if they're playing like they have in last 5 games or so, Broncos, getting 3.5 in this game. I think Texans being a favorite in this game by 3.5. I'm a little surprised by this, the way the Broncos have been playing. Broncos have been playing lights out. They beat, Kansas City a few weeks ago, even though Mahomes was kind of not feeling well. But I got to tell you, I like Denver in this game big. I think they win by at least a touchdown.
I don't think Denver wins. I think 3.5 is too much. I think the Texans are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a close game. Sean Payton has proved his worth in Denver. He's turned that team around from a team that gave up 70 points against the Dolphins to a respectable team. As you said, Russ is playing some great football. He's leading the offense. The defense is playing well. On the other side, the Texans they're a fun team to watch, and they're young and they're growing up together. They're going to be a good team for years if they keep these guys. But 3.5 in the NFL, that's a key number 3. And these are two teams that are both playing good football. I would take the 3.5 points, and I think the Texans win, but by a close margin, maybe a field goal or less.
I could actually see, like I said, Denver winning this game because they create turnovers. They find a way to, get the turnovers. Look, they came back against Minnesota. I know Minnesota is not the best team in the world. They didn't look so great on Monday night against Chicago. Houston, they lost barely against Jacksonville. That's a game they should have won because they were up and then they lost and, went back and forth. It was a battle. It was also the second game of the series because the Texans had blown out Jacksonville earlier in the year, a surprise winning by 20 points. Jacksonville was on the comeback. I thought Houston would take care of business. But I do like Denver here. If Denver just ran the ball like crazy also against Cleveland, they ran it for an incredible amount of yardage last week. If they can get their run game going and Russell doesn't have to, worry about, winning the game on his own, this is going to be Denver's going to, they have a chance to actually make the playoffs because the Broncos' schedule moving forward is not that difficult because they were so bad last year. So
exactly.
They can actually end up, believe it or not, as a wild card, and you never know what happens. I don't think they're going to go so far. I don't think anybody's really beating Kansas City again, but you never know. Maybe they can win a game or so in the playoffs if they get there and if they stay on track. But I like Denver in this game as well.
All right, so the next game has got to be the game of the week.
Oh, this is definitely the game of the week.
You got the 49ers headed to Philly, to see who's the best team in the NFC. And
it's minus 2.5.
I changed to 2.5.
It was 2.5. It was minus 2.5.
I saw 3. So
minus 2.5. That's it's been the lock. They're not giving the 3. But
okay.
Let me see who. I'll let you go ahead first on this one. I want to hear what you have to say.
49ers have too many weapons. Listen, until you can figure out how to stop McCaffrey, Debo, Kittles, Ayuk, then let me know. Then you can win the game. The Philly defenses look bad. The 49ers have a better defense. They have way too many weapons on offense. It's a primetime game. I like the 49ers. It's going to be a great game to watch because Jalen Hurts is not going to.
4:00 game.
Yeah, there's like no other games at 4:00. There's two other
right.
games that nobody can care about. So it's like a primetime game. It'll be the national game. Everybody in America will be watching. The 49ers are going to win this game by at least a touchdown.
I'll tell you something. I like the 49ers, but there's certain reasons why I like the 49ers in this game. I actually was, going back and forth and analyzing both teams as much as possible. And if people who know me, I look at the analytics. I mean, how they handle things. Philly, I got to tell you, they find a way to win. I love Philly. I think they're a great team. I like Jalen Hurts. He's a smart guy. He really knows how to, he takes what the defense gives him. He does not force the ball. He does not make too many mistakes. He really looks for the open guy. What he did against Buffalo last week, I got to tell you, unbelievable. Again, they were down 17-7 at home against Buffalo. They make adjustments. See, the good teams, what people have to understand is good teams make adjustments. They at halftime. They don't even if Philly was winning, I can tell you this right now, they'd make adjustments so they would not be as predictable as in the first half. They come out in the second half against Buffalo. They score 17 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, the throw that Jalen Hurts made to, I can't think of his name, in the end zone on 3rd and 15 at the Buffalo 29. That was an unbelievable throw in the corner. And not too many quarterbacks could make that pass in to begin with. But Jalen Hurts and company, they find a way to win. Lane Johnson, if he's not in there, it's going to be very tough on that offensive line. This offensive line is not as good as they were last year. Lane Johnson, if he's out, it's not a good sign for Philadelphia. On the other side, you got San Francisco. The addition of Chase Young is unbelievable because now you cannot double team Bosa on the other side. One of these guys, if they get double teamed, the other guy is going to be wide open. And it was a big acquisition to get Chase Young. San Francisco is unbelievable up and down. I have to say, the only, kind of kryptonite that I see is down the middle. They don't cover the middle. They cover the sides great on defense. I mean, you got a San Francisco defense. They're 5th total defense. Philly is 19th in total defense, but they find a way to win. That's the funny thing. And they have the tush push. But also one of the big factors why I like San Francisco big in this game. I mean, not big. I mean, they win by a touchdown. It's going to be a hard-fought game. But it's revenge for the 2022 NFC Championship game. That was at Philly. Brock Purdy got injured in that game, and it was over. They had no backup behind that because Brock Purdy originally was like the 3rd or 4th string quarterback. So there was nobody behind him. He gets injured in that game. What happens? Philadelphia goes on. They win 31-7. It's basically a blowout cakewalk, and they move on to the Super Bowl. And the 49ers have probably had this game on their schedule circled since the beginning of the season. They said, we have to make it to this game, and we have to play well to get to this game so that it means something. And they are going to be pumped up for this game. Eagles, great team. I take nothing away from them. They really know how to play the game. But the 49ers right now, even though they lost those 3 games in a row, they are right now on track, and they are really playing lights out. They're taking no prisoners. I see this as a great game. Definitely 49ers winning by 7. I would lay the 2.5, or if you get 3, lay the 3. But I like 49ers big in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I do love the fact that the Eagles don't quit. I mean, they were behind how many weeks in a row at halftime and come back and won.
Yeah, they were on the road at Kansas City, JB. They were down 17-7 at halftime, and they made adjustments, and they stopped Kansas City from scoring, and they ended up winning 21-7. They're at home. They're losing to Buffalo 17-7. They find a way. And then a 59-yard field goal to tie it up to even go into overtime.
In the rain.
Everybody on the team is clutch in Philly. You know that? Everybody's making plays, even down to the kicker, for Christ's sakes. You got a 59-yarder, which he made it look easy, and he had room to spare.
Yeah.
He had room to spare. This is a kick that it didn't just make it. It made it with like 3 yards to spare.
Oh, it was amazing. The effort, the leadership from Hurts, the coaching, the heart. I mean, their Pro Bowl center commits 2 penalties that unheard of. What does the kicker do? The kicker bails him out and hits a 59-yarder. Are you kidding me?
Yep. And then
You
in
know,
overtime, Buffalo goes down, kicks the field goal. Philly comes back, Hurts runs right in for a touchdown. I'm not crazy about the both teams got to get the ball. I feel my feeling about OT is I'm old school, and I say, listen, you get the ball, you score, you win. End of story. Whether it's a touchdown, whether it's a field goal, that's what sudden death is all about. That's what OT is about. And they should have left it at 15 minutes. And that's the way it goes. I don't like it changing and guys got to get, it's not fair. Hey, life's not fair. But guys played it and that's the way they did it. That's what the rule was. But 49ers definitely in this game, they've got clutch guys. They got, Brock Purdy. He didn't get a full chance at the Eagles in the championship game last year. He had to have surgery in the off season because he hurt his elbow big time in that game. Come on, he's locked and loaded for this game. He can't wait. He's probably not even sleeping, getting excited for this game.
no, I agree with you completely. This is going to be the game of the week, and I am actually seeing it at 3 points at the moment. Looking at it, so if the line's going to change. It's going to go to three. It's going to come back down. It's going to go back up. You could get three, take three if you. But I don't know. I love it. This is going to be a great game.
Then Sunday night, after all that melee, you got the Chiefs. I got 6, but Green Bay is at home getting 6 against the Chiefs. Who do you like in this game?
So I think the Chiefs win easy. I don't foresee any issues with this game. You know, I don't see the Chiefs having any problems. Their receivers are the issue with the team, but Mahomes just wills them to victory week after week. The defense this year has stepped up. Andy Reid is one of the best coaches in the NFL. The team knows how to win. Packers, they're playing decent football. Nothing, you know, but Jordan Love is not good enough yet. He's getting better. I don't think he's as bad as everyone makes him out to be, but is he where he should be at this point of his career? No. I foresee that the Chiefs win by about 10 in this game.
Um, I got to tell you something. I disagree with you on this game because my feeling is that Jordan Love's coming out party was against Detroit on Thanksgiving. He really showed something. Detroit didn't know what hit him. It was a payback game for earlier in the season. Packers are playing very well. If they get their running game going against Kansas City, it's going to be tough. Kansas City is not as good this year on the road as they are at home. If this game was at home, I'd say the Chiefs winning by 7 should be no problem. But on the road at Green Bay, it's a little difficult. It's a little more difficult. Kansas City last week, I loved them, laying 9 against the Raiders. Chiefs spotted Raiders 14-0 to start. And what happened? Chiefs go 31-3 points, and I loved it. I loved Kansas City off the loss against Philly. The bounce back, folks. People, what they don't understand in football is that there's a big bounce back factor. I've been saying that for years, analyzing the games. After a loss, good teams make adjustments. They look at film more. They prepare more for the next week. So that's what happened with the Chiefs. The Packers are on a little bit of a roll that maybe finally Jordan Love is turning things around, but they shocked Detroit in Detroit from the opening gun. And that's what they have to do this week against the Chiefs. If they're able to do the same thing that they did against Detroit and are able to do it on Sunday night, this is going to be some game. And I like the points. I think the Chiefs, honestly, I think they win by a field goal on the road at Green Bay. But I like Green Bay +6. And if you could get 6.5, take it. But the running game right now has to be there for the Green Bay Packers. If they have no running game, it's going to be very difficult because right now, Aaron Jones, he was out for Thanksgiving, but if he's able to come back this week and you got the other guys that are back there, I can't think off the top of my head, but if they can get their running game, Jordan Love, he'll be able to, drop passes all over. He just has to be very careful because Kansas City's defense in the secondary, they're very, they're there. They watch, they make plays. They let you think some guy's open and then bam, he's not. But I think it's going to be a good game. I like the Packers plus the points. I think Chiefs probably win by 3.
Interesting. I completely disagree, but I can understand why you feel that way. I mean, the Packers have played better football. I just don't see them being up to this test yet.
Okay. So we go to Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football, probably when they put this thing on the calendar at the beginning of the year, they said to themselves, hey, it's going to be Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence. Well, unfortunately, Joe Burrow is out. Right now it's at 8, sometimes even 8.5. I like the Jags in this game. I got to tell you, Jake Browning to me really doesn't impress me. The Jags, they barely won against Houston, but it was a division game. It happens. Trevor Lawrence and company at home should be doing pretty well. Cincinnati has one of the worst rushing offenses in the NFL. A 32 rush offense versus a Jags number 4 rush defense. So this is going to be all on Jake Browning's shoulders come Monday night, basically. And the Jags defense should be just waiting there to pounce. I mean, this game should be a 14-point game for the Jags. Should be a nice victory on Monday night. And, I like the way the Jags are starting to move. Maybe they're starting to turn the corner. Maybe they're starting to turn the culture around in Jacksonville, because for the last 10 years or so, the only bright spot was 2017 when they made it to the championship game against New England. Other than that, it's been Loserville. And I like the Jags in this game. I think they win by 14 points.
So, I mean, the Jaguars are going to win. That's for sure. The game's going to go under because every Monday night game goes under. That seems to be like the thing. But Browning actually looked somewhat decent. The Steelers' defense is really good. I don't care what anybody says. Mike Tomlin is a great coach. He knew what he had to do to win that game, and he got it done. They put pressure on Browning. Browning is not that bad. I think he could, lead that offense. The Jaguars are going to be coming off a rough game at Houston where they won. They're going to have a little bit of a letdown. They're going to win the game because they're the better team and they're at home. But 8 points is too steep. Maybe 6 I would do, but I'm not giving 8 points against the Bengals in a Monday night game. You're setting yourself up to lose.
Well, we disagree on that one. I think the Jags are due, and the Bengals are just playing the string because Burrow's not going to be there for the rest of the season. Jake Browning, also T. Higgins is out. He's not going to be in for this game as well. Jamar Chase is banged up. They have no real run offense. Listen, if the Jags can make some plays here, this could be a blowout city.
Yeah, no, I don't see it happening. I mean, the Jags are a good team. I'm not saying they're not, but they just had a huge win against Houston. It's letdown time. It's time to relax a little bit. It's a game. It shouldn't be a game. That's where that's going to come into play. They're going to win, like I said. I mean, if you're betting the money line, you'd be stupid to take the Bengals. But 8 points, a lot of points. I don't see him winning more than a touchdown. The NFL is weird like that. Just when you think you figured it out, stupid stuff happens.
Well, last week, I got to tell you, the favorites were 12-3-1, and the favorites haven't been that big since week 12 of the 2017 season. And then the next week,
doesn't happen.
The next week, the Dogs took over. So we'll see what happens. Maybe this week the Dogs will take over again. It happens that way. I keep tabs on all of it. I know exactly when it was when they mentioned it. So I know that, favorites winning usually the next week, when it's so lopsided on one side, usually the next week it goes back, down the other way.
Yeah, usually evens out.
Usually. But last year in 2022, the Dogs finished the season plus 29. That's rare. Wow. Yeah.
So a lot.
It happens. So where can we find you there, JB?
JB_ the program, Tuesday night, Sideline Sports, 8:30 p.m. Wednesday morning, WDJY. Sunday NFL pregame show, WDJY in Atlanta. South Florida Tribune coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern. here, of course, every week with Jeff Cadillac, who's on fire lately. If you're not listening to his picks, you're just losing.
Well, I'm plus 19 for the season, plus 24 from weeks 4 to 12. You can check out my website at jeffcadillac.com. That's pretty good. I got to tell you, it's pretty high up there right now, and picks are going very well. The games are flowing. jeffcadillac.com. You can find me here on Wednesday nights with you, JB, and on Twitter at jeffcadillac1.
All right, guys, until next week, we will see you here. Make sure you check out jeffcadillac.com, JB_the program on Twitter. We'll see you then.